This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. We're doing another live podcast right now on Callin. This video is also airing on YouTube. No matter where you're watching or how you're watching, thank you so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. Just a reminder that we go live once a week on Callin. Download the app at chatsports.com/49ersCallin so that you can call into the show. We'll answer your calls in just a few moments, but first, I want to go through a list of 5 rookies who I'm really looking forward to watching once 49ers training camp gets underway on Tuesday in the shadows of Levi Stadium. Before we do that and get to my list, I want to hear from you in the comment section on YouTube as well as Callin. Which rookie are you most excited about? It can be one of the Niners draft picks or one of these UDFAs. Either way, give me a name in the comment section right now. So we kick off my list of 5 Niners rookies who I'm looking forward to just watching and monitoring once training camp gets underway. And we start off with my favorite draft selection of the 2022 draft class for San Francisco in wide receiver Danny Gray. Really excited about him as a player as well as the skill that he's able to bring to this Niners offense. Really intriguing athleticism and speed. He has these long gliding strides, so he's able to pick up a lot of yards in a short amount of time. He has that pull away speed from defenders and is able to excel after the catch for a lot of yak yards. Now, he doesn't have the size and the width of Deebo Samuel in that regard, but he does have this innate ability to make defenders miss and pull away from defenders like Deebo Samuel. So there's kind of similar in that way. Why I'm also excited about Danny Gray, versatility at the wide receiver position. He can be a vertical threat that this offense has been lacking over the last couple of years, and with Trey Lance set to take the reins as a starting quarterback of San Francisco, I think that's something that Kyle Shanahan is going to call for more in this offense as San Francisco figures to be more explosive in the pass game because Jimmy Garoppolo didn't really offer the Niners that long ball threat. Also, Gray, when we talk about this versatile skill set, inside, outside ability. You want to line them up outside one-on-one? You can do that. You want to exploit a mismatch from the slot position? He has experience doing that. He can also give the Niners kick and punt return ability. Now, I'm not sure how much he's going to do that. You signed Ray McCloud in NFL free agency. Brandon Ayuk can also return punts and kicks. So Danny Gray is going to be probably third in that pecking order. But in a pinch, if you need an explosive play on a special teams unit that last year was one of the worst in the NFL, Gray can fill that void. And in this offense, I just want to see how Kyle Shanahan and his creativity is able to use Danny Gray. He's not going to be the sole focus for opposing defenses. So I think he's going to have a lot of open opportunities, and I just want to see Shanahan get creative with Danny Gray's usage. Put the ball in his hands with some jet sweeps, pitches, handoffs, reverses, quick bubble screens, and let him just do damage after the catch because at the NFL Combine, after a really good 2 years at SMU, ran a 4.3, 40-yard dash, and his stats last year, 49 catches, 803 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Now, he will be competing for wide receiver 3 spots alongside Jauan Jennings, who had a really good year last year. And I do expect Jennings to get the bulk of the reps. And frankly, I like Jennings' size in that slot at about 6'3". He's also really reliable, but Danny Gray is a completely different player. So I want to ask you this question: who's going to be wide receiver 3? Let me know in the comment section. Predict it for me. JJ for Jauan Jennings or DG for Danny Gray. Second rookie, Drake Jackson, the second overall pick in this draft in the second round out of USC. Really intriguing edge rusher. And the Niners want him to play right away. That's the ideal plan. They want him to get consistent reps opposite of Nick Bosa. And the ability is certainly there. Has good size, 6'3", 250 pounds, but that size didn't always translate to a lot of sack numbers. I'm just excited to see him in this defensive scheme, which with defensive line coach Chris Kocurek allows players to excel, whether it be young players or veterans trying to find their way and get back on track in their respective NFL careers. Why I think that Jackson can be a really good edge rusher, has good bend and athleticism coming around the corner, and if he's able to up his speed a little bit, getting around the edge, he'll be a problem for other tackles who are a little bit slower. Niners defensive line, as we know, I think it's going to be one of the deepest in the NFL here in 2022, so the competition's going to be really good for Drake Jackson to try to carve out that role. Some do think that while he's big, he does lack play strength. He's lost some weight. I'm interested to see what shape he comes into training camp in, because right now he's about 250 pounds, as we talked about. He was heavier than that at USC. But either way, whether he's lighter or whether he is a little bit heavier, he does have all of the ability, and that's why San Francisco drafted him in the second round with their second overall pick. How many sacks do you think Jackson will have in his rookie year? That's the next question that I have from the audience. Make sure you let me know in the comment section on YouTube as well as call in. Rookie number 3, Ty Davis-Price, running back out of LSU. For LSU, stepped in as a true freshman when Joe Burrow was there, helped lift LSU to a national championship and had a really good freshman campaign, and throughout his career was a consistent performer and a really tough, rugged downhill runner. Most excited for him because of his physicality in which he plays with, him being that downhill, bell cow, durable running back. I'm, of course, high on Elijah Mitchell. He was top 10 in the NFL last year in rushing yards per game, but he is a little bit leaner, so because of that, he was banged up, and he's coming off an offseason knee surgery. So we got to see how he recovers from that. While TDP might have inconsistent hands, he did do a good job of being a pass catcher and pretty productive through the air last year with the Tigers. 10 catches for 64 yards. Even given his size at more than 200 pounds, accelerates and cuts like a smaller back. And what's really awesome about TDP, he got stronger as games progressed. Less than 4 yards per carry in the first half of games, more than 5 yards per carry in the second half of games. So in that way, reminds me of a player like LeGarrette Blount or Alfred Morris, who was really good for Washington back in the day. What Kyle Shanahan also wants to see from his running backs, guys who don't dance in the backfield, who are overly patient. For TDP, like Elijah Mitchell last year, this is why he had success, quick to process the hole. That's what Shanahan wants. Just don't dance in the backfield, because when those holes open up, you got to hit them right away at the NFL level. Running back competition, as we know, it's going to be deep. Elijah Mitchell, Ty Davis-Price, Trey Sermon trying to redeem himself after a down rookie year. Jeff Wilson, JaMychal Hasty rounding out the roster. Jordan Mason is a UDFA who a lot of people are excited about. So the crop of running backs on this team, it's certainly deep. Who's going to rise to the top of that crop? We will see, and we'll see if it's TDP. With that, another great question for you, because I want to put you to the test, because your football knowledge, faithful, is absolutely awesome. Who's going to lead the Niners in rushing yards in 2022? Once more predicted for me. Number 4, we're going to go to a late round pick who's falling under the radar to a certain degree. Under one caveat, I'm not sure if Kalia Davis is going to be ready right away in training camp, but if he is, keep your eyes peeled on him. Defensive tackle out of UCF. He's coming off a torn ACL, which he suffered last October. We'll see if and when he's ready coming off that injury. Obviously, you don't want to rush him back. Opted out of 2020 as well during that COVID season, then tore his ACL. So he hasn't played a lot of football the last couple of years. You could look at that as something positive because there's less tread on the tires, or as a negative because he needs more experience. Intriguing body type, 6'1", 306 pounds, big dude, used to play linebacker, so has good athleticism and really good bend, and is extremely quick going up against sluggish and slow centers and guards, and that's why he could have a role at the NFL level. You ask NFL evaluators, they just want him to get in better shape, and with San Francisco, hopefully he can do that and maybe be the future DJ Jones. Quick feet, has played multiple positions along the defensive line that could help him in trying to crack this Niners roster. Finally, at number 5, before we start taking your calls, and by the way, those of you in the caller queue, come up with a rookie who you're really excited to watch in training camp. It's Jason Poe, the UDFA, who's kind of just like this magical prospect to a certain degree. Played center as well as guard at the college football level, went to Lenoir-Rhyne, then finished his collegiate career at Mercer. It's not a football powerhouse by any means, but this guy has a powerful body type. Sub 5-second 40-yard dash at more than 300 pounds. Think about how quickly he had to move in order to do that. That right there, folks, very impressive and intriguing. He's so athletic, actually, that teams in the pre-draft process wanted to try him out as a fullback to see if he could be a lead blocker. Can you imagine being a DB and you see him coming out as a fullback at 300 pounds trying to run your ass over? I ain't about that life because he's an athletic marvel. Just want to see how he can handle NFL competition. We'll see if he's able to stick around long in training camp. I'm not saying that he's going to make the 53-man roster. Can he be a practice squad guy? I think potentially, but he's going to have to impress people right from the jump. Since he went to Mercer, he's a little bit unproven. What position can he play? Like Kalia Davis and that positional versatility, when you play multiple spots along the defensive line, offensive line, or really, frankly, anywhere, it improves your chances of making the roster because you can play and fulfill multiple positions. So with that, before we start taking your calls here on Call-In and YouTube, which rookie are you most excited about? It can be one of the 5 guys who I broke down on today's show or a different player. Either way, let me know right now. And for those of you watching us after the fact on YouTube, this is what's cool about Call-In. We do segments like this, then we can start taking calls. I'm looking at the caller queue right now. David, Draco, Hugo, Evan, all in the caller queue. So with that, start teeing away. We're going to start off our call segment with David Corona, going to make you the next caller. David, you've been tuned in every single week. Welcome on to the 49ers Report. Make sure you unmute yourself, and what do you got for me, my man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Good to catch up with you again.
Yeah, you too, man. I'm just saying for the offense, Danny Gregg, and is that Danny Gregg or Danny Green?
Danny Gray. Danny Green's the basketball player.
Okay. For the defense, I want to see Jackson, see how he goes with Nick Bosa and Armstrong on the edge side. I think Jackson will get like probably 9.5 sacks in his rookie year, maybe 10.
Wow. Yeah, David, if Drake Jackson has 9.5 sacks in his rookie year, I'm going to Venmo you $5. Now, it's up to you to remind me. But if he comes through with 9+ sacks in his rookie season, we'll set the number at that. I'm going to Venmo you $5. And also, if he's able to put forward that production, I'm not kidding you, he's going to be in the running for NFL Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie. So that would be a marvelous season for him. And look, I'm high on Drake Jackson. I'm higher on him than most. I think as a second-round pick, he was slotted in the right position. Some NFL draft evaluators had him going maybe in the 3rd round. They thought it was a little bit of a reach, but at USC, I just schematically don't think that they really utilized him well, and that's something that the Niners do so well. They just put their defensive linemen in positions where they can succeed, and as a rookie, you enter the locker room, you see Nick Bosa, you see Eric Armstead, you see a player who's hungry to prove himself in Javon Kinlaw. That's why I'm excited to watch Drake Jackson, and then I'm with you on Danny Gray. That after-the-catch ability is really special.
Yeah, and Bosa, too. I think maybe the last 2 seasons he had, 11, 13 sacks?
He had 15.5 just in the regular season last year, and then I think 4 or 5 more in the playoffs.
I'm aiming for 18.5 for Nick Bosa.
18.5. Okay, so that'll be, Drake Jackson and Nick Bosa, they put forward that sack production. Man, you're getting some money from me on Venmo, all right?
I don't got Venmo, but I got Cash App.
I'll give you a Cash App then. Either way.
Awesome. All right, man.
Thanks for calling the show. Let's shift gears now to Draco. Appreciate David for joining the program. Going to make Draco the next caller. Draco, my man, tuned in from Las Vegas. Welcome on to the 49ers Report. Make sure you unmute yourself, and what do you have for me?
Who I'm most excited to see? I guess Trey. Just so I can see what it is or what it isn't for real.
See, you're cheating a little bit because Trey isn't necessarily a rookie, but he only started 2 games last year. So, Draco, I'll give you this, right? If he was a Major League Baseball player, he technically would still be a rookie because it would carry over. So I'll let you go with Trey Lance, and I agree with you. He's the player that I'm most excited to watch in general.
Yeah. Okay, I bet. Matter of fact, I want to see if Jordan Mason make the roster.
Okay. Yeah, the running back out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I feel like he gonna do something. I don't know why, but it just feels like when I heard them comparing to Marshawn Lynch, I just want to see it.
Yeah, that would be best case scenario. And his college coach at Georgia Tech, Jeff Collins, who I kind of know a little bit, because he was the head coach at Temple University. That's where I went. He compared it to Marshawn Lynch, and I'm like, really? You're comparing him to Beast Mode, who in this generation or when he was playing was just a sensational running back who obviously was famous for just being that physical bell cow of a back who would just run dudes over. That would be incredible if Jordan Mason is able to develop into that type of player as a UDFA. What I will tell you about Jordan Mason, I'm not sure if he's going to be Marshawn Lynch, and probably he won't be, right? Because Lynch is a borderline Hall of Famer. He was an excellent special teams player at Georgia Tech when he was given those opportunities, which does help his chances of making the roster.
Okay. Defense-wise, I just want to see one of the cornerbacks because I know last year I used to complain to you all the time about our secondary, so I want to see who's going to make an impact.
Yeah, you got Samuel
Tyreek
Womack, who was drafted, Tariq Castro-Fields. You got Leon O'Neal's an undrafted free agent. They certainly addressed corner, and they addressed the secondary. Honestly, you just have me excited talking about the secondary of Charvarius Ward. You finally have a bona fide number one corner, probably for the first time consistently in terms of just overall upside, going back to Richard Sherman. And I think that he's really going to elevate everybody in the secondary. Emmanuel Mosley was great last year. I think he only gave up one touchdown in coverage, maybe even no touchdowns in coverage last year. But him being a number two, I think that's a better slot for him. Charvarius Ward being the number one corner just kind of puts everybody in line with where they should and need to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
All right, Draco, anything else for me?
No, I think that's all I got right now until the training camp start.
All right, Draco. We'll talk to you next week, my man. Appreciate you calling into the show.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Next up on the show, looking at the caller queue here, I'm seeing Hugo in the caller queue. I'll give you a second to unmute yourself, but Hugo, you're on the 49ers Report right here on Chat Sports. If you have a question for me, let me know. But first, I got to see that you're going to unmute yourself so that you can join the show. If you don't unmute yourself in time, then we can just give you a moment. Hugo dropped out of the caller queue. So with that, I'm going to start taking calls here in just a few moments. But as we wrap up here on YouTube, I want to ask you this question. We've been talking about these rookies. We've been talking about the 2022 season. How many games will San Francisco win in 2022? I'm going with 10. You let me know right now. And thanks for watching the show today.